Yes, namaste. Welcome everyone for today's webinar on Hindu society and culture. Thank you for joining from all around the world. We've got Candice from New York City, Prabhakanaji from Toronto, Shonaji from Scotland. I'm Ankur Patel, the Director of Outreach for Hindu University of America, joining from Los Angeles. And we have Dr. Hema Hari, Dr. DK Hari. Where are you guys joining us from?
Chennai, Bharat.
Great to have you joining from Chennai, Bharat. If you haven't filled out the poll, let us know if you're a regular attendee, if this is your first webinar, if you're enrolled in courses at Hindu University of America. So with that, let's get started. And in this webinar, we've got the wonderful dynamic duo of Dr. Hema Hari, Dr. DK Hari. And through their Bharat Gyan compilation, they've been working on that initiative for decades. They're going to provide a fact and record-based basis for understanding why the Hindus are widely considered to be the most adaptable, accommodating, and assimilating people in the world, and how the Bharata civilization has been a hallmark for unity and diversity. They're also going to throw some light on the factors that aided our civilization to flourish and of the reasons that have caused a substantial breakdown of this society in recent and going back a couple of centuries. Their work clears the wrong understanding, clarifies misconceptions of the Hindu society, and breaks the myths that have wrongly dubbed it as patriarchal, male-dominated, oppressive, rigid, stratified, regressive society. Instead, we're going to showcase the core of the Bharata civilization and helps us fathom and weave that makes up the fabric of our successful and continuing civilization. It also showcases how the various dimensions of a Hindu life are interlaced together to form the intricately woven fabric called Samaj. So this webinar is for raising awareness on the various dimensions of the society, of the culture of the Bharata civilization, and how, despite this multifaceted nature, this civilization does have a common culture, the Bharatiya Kalachar. And this webinar will also offer some details about the forthcoming courses that they've been teaching. They've taught at HUA and upcoming courses that they teach at Hindu University of America that provide deeper understanding of society and culture. So that's a brief background of our webinar topic today. Dilip G from Maryland, thank you for joining. If you haven't yet, please put in the chat where you're zooming in from. And I will introduce our wonderful faculty, starting with Dr. DK Hari. Hails from an Indian traditional family, roots in Kanchipuram, a very ancient town in India. You may have heard of it. It's actually the silk center of the South through the ages and also known for its age-old temples, saints, and scholars. He's studied there and around the world. He's got schooling from the Rishi Valley School, then graduated from Madras Christian College and did his post-graduation in business administration from the PSG College of Technology in Coimbatore. Dr. DK Hari has had a 20-year career as a management professional, managing family businesses in various verticals such as oil and gas, in the supply chain for almost a decade, and then marketing for a building industry product company for 12 years. He's done so much before they got into this Hindu civilizational project. Dr. Hema Hari was born in Mysore, grew up in Bombay. She double graduated in physics and in computer technology from Bombay University. She's been a PMI certified project management professional for 12 years and started her career in Tata Consultancy Services back in 1989. But it was after her 20-year career in information technology that mainly focused on managing innovation and nurturing new technologies, through consulting, mentoring, and business development. But it was after each of their respective careers that they together started the Bharat Gyan Initiative in Civilizational Studies in 2000, in the year 2000. And Bharat Gyan follows an interdisciplinary approach to researching on India from an Indian perspective and provides an integrated Indic narrative of the Indian civilization. Together, they've put together over 500 hours of multimedia content across hundreds of subjects. They've authored books, over 40 books on the Indian civilization, 300 short films, 5 documentaries, 60 mini books, and they're doing this work every day. They've been part of international conferences, the Civil BRICS, Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, World Sanskrit conferences, World Ramayana conferences, conferences on the Mahabharata, the Ramayana conferences for tour operators in Sri Lanka. The list is long. They've worked with the Indian Space Research Organization. They visited CERN, the large collider. They've done so much work and they integrate it so beautifully. And we are glad that they are with Hindu University of America teaching the in several courses, including the the certificate in Hindu civilizational studies. It's amazing to have them with us. Thank you for joining, everyone. Pankaj Ji from North Carolina, thank you for joining. I know you've taken a lot of their courses. Deepthi from San Antonio, glad to have all of you on for this webinar. And with that, let me hand it to the Haris to start our webinar. Thank you, everyone. Namaste. Dhanyawad.
Thank you for such a wonderful introduction. As usual, every time you introduce us so well, thank you. Good to see so many friends here in the chat box. Very nice.
And thank you, Pankaj Ji, for your comments. Thank you so much.
Yeah. It's all, each of this experience adds on in life. So that's how life is. Okay. So getting on to the subject of what we've been asked to speak about today, our Bharata civilization knowledge. Specifically in that, we'll just start showing you some slides and we'll take it forward quickly from there on for the next 45 minutes. We'll just start sharing the screen. Just give us a moment to adjust our screens. So we have been happy to do this 8-part course, 8-quarter course with the Hindu University America. We have already completed one full cycle and more. And in that cycle, one of the quarters that we do is about society and culture. So the upcoming quarter that starts on April 13th will be on this subject, society and culture. So we'll just look at some aspects of this as part of the Bharata civilization knowledge.
So we're all very familiar with the adage, right? Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. Many of us have been taught this when we have been children.
It's a shloka too. All of us say it as a shloka too.
And it comes in that order also, specifically as mother is your first guru, Pita, father is your second guru, your guru is the next guru, and then you have the divine himself, divine herself, divinity itself, teaching you everything, the nature itself speaking and teaching you.
Prakriti.
So in this system that we are all brought up with in the Bharata civilization, what do these 4 pillars actually stand for? If you look at it, this maps to any civilization's aspect of women, work. Father typically is associated with work. I mean, he not only supports the family, but the children also usually in traditional civilizations, they pick up the trade from the father. So father denotes work. Then the guru denotes the education system, and beyond education, the traditional wisdom in the practices, in the traditional practices. And eventually, how all this actually gives the civilization values that they revere and lead to divinities then lead to the form of divinities that they eventually worship.
Which we propitiate. Now look at this. While on the first slide that Hema showed you was on Mata, Pita, Guru, Devam. This we say it as personages with whom we are personally associated, and the same personages transform themselves into the Stri Shakti of the society, of which your mother is the first of the Stri Shaktis. Then the work that we do, because we have to work with it, all of us have to. So, and that to do it with a sense of Samaj. Look at the term Samaj. What does it mean? Sama, equal. Look at the English word, same, comes etymologically from this root of the word samaj, same. So all of us are flat, equal. There's no hierarchical, one being up, one being down.
So everybody's contribution in society is equally valuable to the entire society as a whole, to the civilization as a whole. So that is what it means by Samaj, and that where because of this, there is a sense of balance. Sama also means balance, equal. So this a balanced society is what actually is a Samaj.
So when we speak about the idea of breaking the myth, I think this is one of the key myth that we should break and say, because people say there is imbalance in our society. No, we don't call it society, we call it Samaj, because it's got an inherent balance to it, a natural balance to it, and every aspect of work is respected and looked up to equally. That's a key point here to be noted. That's a cornerstone of the Bharata civilization, which comes from the society. It's a pillar of the society.
And one of the beautiful clues to how the Bharata civilization has been a Samaj for consistently for many millennia is the fact that if it were not balanced, there would have been internal turmoil. There would have been a lot of internal civil unrest. So civil unrest happen when there is that balance is lost.
Imbalance.
When there is an imbalance in the society itself, that is what gives rise to civil unrest. Oppressions are different. They come from outside. Plunders come from outside. Battles and wars that are waged, they come from outside. But a civil unrest comes from within. And that comes when there is an imbalance. And the Bharata civilization has not had many civil unrest in its millennia long history.
Look at the beauty of, because until the oppressors came in, until the colonizers came in and gave in their theories, this land, this Samaj has not had an internal civil unrest. As you see others, means there was an intrinsic respect, mutual understanding in the Samaj. And that also comes out of the wisdom. And there are people, the wise people, who always bring in the balance internally. And this land has been fortunate that consistently through the ages, throughout the land, we have had such noble, wise people who have ensured that this land has been balanced. So these are the different guru, and the education system that they're given is where all are equal in the front of the divine. They're given that to us as a daily knowledge. And what comes out of this is we look at the divine. Look at the English word divine, which itself comes from the Bharata civilization word div, deva. The word div itself means to glow, to shine in the Indian language. So anything that's divine is obviously glows and shines. That's there. And all this so beautifully are with the dharma. So what is dharma? Is it something external? No. Dharma is something internal to us. It's internalized in us. That is your character. So your character is to venerate, respect the Stri Shakti, of which your mother and your personal family is the foremost, from where you sprout forth. The work in the community that you do is also your dharma. To work is your dharma. So to learn this knowledge is also your dharma. And to venerate all, Prakriti, nature is also your dharma. So look at that. So dharma is not alien that is brought in. No, it is intrinsic is a key word that we want to bring in here. And all this we have brought out in our set of books called Brand Bharat. We see quite a few of our friends here. I'm sure more than a few of them would have browsed some of these books, which way we bring in all these aspects.
And the reason we wanted to actually highlight this series is the fact that because we had a intrinsic balance, we followed the dharma. So these characteristic traits of the civilization, the highlights of the civilization, about how they treated the women in the society, how the work was in such a, the society itself was a samaj, a balanced entity, and the wisdom that was practiced, all of this led this civilization to contribute to the world, both in terms of material aspects as well as aspects of the mind. And that is why we had this series where we looked at it as a brand itself, a brand that was sought after. And the success of the civilization lies in the fact that it was a brand
of the land. But unfortunately, we have had about 1,000 years of both oppression and later 2 to 3 centuries of the colonial rule, where like the tentacles of an octopus, each of these have been strangulated in this land. The industry, the trade, the people, the navigation shipping, the cattle, which is the backbone of any agrarian society, all of this, the water harnessing, everything has been, so your production of your cereals, your salt, every bit has been strangulated. And it's been a very crushing grip. And it's only now after independence, again, we stumbled after independence again for many decades. And it's after that that we've been able to now come into our own and come out of the grip slowly.
But unfortunately, these centuries have also clouded the minds and created a lot of myths, many of them deliberately. And these are the myths about, firstly, our own identity. The identity of the people of the civilization itself is now very clouded. And the society as such, again, so the samaj, which is why we have created a course itself to be able to speak about these myths with respect to society, and then about prosperity and ability as well. So from many facets, there are myths that have been created because of this colonial oppression.
And if as a civilization, as a land, not if we have to, we are slowly coming out of it and breaking the shackles. So for that to break the shackles, we should know what those myths are and be able to unshackle ourselves. If we don't know what are all the strings, the cobwebs holding us back, we will not be able to unshackle. Look at this. Each of these book covers itself tells us telling story as to how we can unshackle ourselves and come through to start soaring once again as a civilization.
So today we thought we'll just walk you through some of the startling facts, facts that may actually startle you, especially since we have had a lot of these myths around women and the organization in the society. So one of the aspects is that we call women in the society in Bharat as Sahadharmini and not Samadharmini. So
even though we say Samaj as a society is equal, we don't call, because in Dharma, the husband and wife walk the path together, tread the path together. So they are Dharma, in Dharma. So the wife is called Dharmini. You don't call her Samadharmini, not equal. There's no term in the Bharata civilization knowledge in a language called as Samadharmini. Then what is it we have? What do we call the wife if we don't call her equal? It's a very important thought question.
And it's not just in the society, but you also have the divinities having spouses and families. So on one side, we talk about all the darshana, the philosophy, and the aspect how we have looked at divinity as tattva as well. And on the other side, we talk about them as personages with spouses and families. So what does this stand for? And another aspect of the civilization will be when we say it was a balanced society, yet there were people who held the wealth of this land of Bharat. And who were these people who held the land, wealth of the land?
We'll see that over next time. So the women were not called Sama, that is, the wives were not called Samadharmini, but instead they were called, let's see what it is. Just show you.
I think I gave it away a little few minutes ago.
Next.
Just one second. Yes.
See, here just showing you an animation. In the West, in modern thought, we say behind every successful man there is a woman. Means the woman is behind and not on the same step. Whereas in the Bharata thought, the women and men share the body half and half. So it is Ardhanari. Nar, Nara, Nari, Naran, Nari. You have the idea. So Ardhanari. So it is not just equal, but lot beyond equal. So what is that lot beyond equal is what we'll see. So that is a traditional concept. You don't say in Indian language anywhere, behind every successful man there's a woman, because the woman is not behind. Neither is the woman sama equal. Then what is she? She is called Sahadharmini. That is a co-achiever in all the four objectives of life, which being dharma, artha, kama, moksha, all the four. So she is not equal alone. The equality is again a concept come because there was an earlier suppression. So you have to fight for equality from suppression. Whereas in the Bharata concept, it has been together, complementary though. So the focus is complementariness. So in the naming itself, so when you have complementary nature, it deals a different level, because when certain Western thoughts are now coming up to equal, the next level they'll come up and say, no, equality has problems. We need to look beyond equality. Then they will automatically come to the nature of complementariness, which the Bharata civilization has been consistently giving the term and practice of Sahadharmini. We'll see this in a moment. Next slide, please.
And you will find this word Saha and the aspect of complementary, together, cooperation, collaboration. Look at all these words, the co in it. So you find that beautifully even in the words for brother and sister.
What do you call a brother? Even though in a family, a brother and sister is equal, what do you call them in the Indian languages? Within a family, they are equal. They are co-personary. But what do you call them? You don't call them. We call them Sahodara, Sahodari.
We don't say Samadara. We say Sahodara, Sahodari. And this comes from the word Udara itself. So Saha Udara. So Udara means the womb, the stomach. So
the pot, the water pot.
The mother's belly from which they have come, the belly that they have shared. So the Sahodara and Sahodari. So even amongst brother, sister, you find this word, the aspect of together. So together, the brother and sister, they form a complementary part of the family.
So when you have complementary, they merge into one. If you are not complementary, but only look for equal, then what will happen? You will not be able to merge.
So look at it, irrespective. So between any man and woman, the balance, it could be different. But when you're complementary, you come together without a gap, without seamlessly, and many such complementary units together form a nice society without gaps. Whereas, look at this, it's when you look at this, you realize the problems that equal causes. So when you're equal, you meet head on at every aspect. Whatever the pink has, the blue has. And what the pink doesn't have, the blue also doesn't have. We don't realize this. When we say equal, we don't realize that we talk about the haves, but we don't talk about what we do not have. And that the other also does not have. So which means you are ending up with these gaps. and not just as units, but as a society as a whole itself, you come up with a lot of gaps in the society. And look at the image it creates as well. There is a head on, you're meeting head on. So, which means that in equal, there it will eventually lead to a kind of fight when you have a head on. So, equality can lead to fights, whereas in complementary, it will lead to more collaboration and will lead to more filling in for the other and complementing the other's skills. So, and the others haves and have not. So, this is what we have to be heading towards. So we normally like to say we don't support gender equality. So we say we should fight for gender complementary, and we should re-emphasize and highlight gender complementariness rather than gender equality. It goes far beyond that. And this is what you will see actually in the divinities too. So we have extended this not just in society between humans, we've taken it to the next level that even in creation, there is an aspect of a nature and a function. So something which is the substance and something which actually acts. And you will find this reflected all the way even in our darshana.
No,
So,
first of all, you should understand this. For creation to happen, what do you need? Knowledge. For the Srishti creation to happen. So, for Brahma, the spouse, the Sahadermini is Saraswati. Vishnu we call as preserver for sustenance. For preserving, what do you need? You need the stula, the matter. And for that, you have the material. That is Lakshmi, Lakshya, the goal. So, for the activity of Vishnu, what you need is the matter. So, that's what it is. And for Shiva, who is also the destroyer, he is also the regenerator. What do you need for regeneration? What do you need for that? Destruction, pralaya, and again regeneration. What you need is the Shakti, the power. So, at the divinity level itself, what we have been able to envisage, appreciate, and propitiate as the spouses of each divinity is their complementary nature in their work style itself. That's why when we showed no Mata, Pita, Guru there in the first slide, the second slide we spread with work. The work aspect you see it in these three divinities itself, and they are on in all other divinities, which we'll see as we go along in the course, which we'll see that. So it is absolute. So when you say woman of substance, because people today use the term a lot in the last couple of decades and more, they call women of substance. If this is not women of substance in natural practice, at the cosmic level itself, at the very level of creation to sustenance to dissolution and regeneration, where else do you find that? So a function requires a substance, and this is from the Big Bang to the present day life in each aspect of the world that we lead. So it's a continuum of this is what we see through the world substantially. That's what it is. And when, at a time of a marriage, one of the key aspects of the rituals that's performed is the husband wife. Yeah, we'll play a short film for it. The husband wife are asked to view a particular star in the northern horizon. It's called the Ursa Major, the Great Bear, one particular star. Okay, in the English, it's now called Mizar and Alcor, obviously Egyptian name. Both of them are. You're actually asked to watch this study. You know why? We'll play a short 2-minute film and then we'll take it forward from there.
So this star is in the tail of the Great Bear. And in Indian astronomy, they are called Arundhati and Vasishta because it is actually a double star. And this Great Bear is such that if you join the line from here, you'll be directed towards the pole star, which is part of the Ursa Minor constellation. So this is a star constellation which is in the polar circle in the sky, northern hemisphere. So we'll just show you a short film about why this kind of a double star, why are a newly married, newly wedded couple asked to see this.
The naming of Mizar Alcor, the double star in the Ursa Major constellation, also known as the Great Bear, as Vasishtha and Arundhati, has a very interesting legend attached to it. Sage Vasishtha is very well known in Indian history as the preceptor to Surya Vamsha, the solar dynasty. The illustrious King Rama belongs to this lineage. Vasishtha was respected by one and all for his knowledge and sagacity. His wife, Arundhati, was as virtuous as he was learned, and they complemented each other's qualities. While solemnizing marriages in India, the newlywed couples are shown Mizar Alcor star in the constellation Ursa Major, called Saptarishi Mandala in Indian astronomy. Mizar is called Vasishtha in Indian astronomy and is one of the 7 great sages in the Saptarishi Mandala. Mizar, in modern astronomy, has been identified as a star with a companion called Alcor. This Alcor was known in Indian astronomy and given the name Arundhati, the name of Vasishtha's wife. The Mizar-Alcor pair is thus a double star. Usually, a double star has a smaller star going around a bigger star. In this case, however, the stars are sized and separated such that they both appear to go around one another when observed from the Earth.
The message of this double star to the newly marrieds is so that one doesn't dominate the other in life, but they complement each other in their to have a happy married life, as is the case with the noble Arundhati and Vasishtha. The ancient seers understood this and gave it as a wise message in the form of a ritual at the time of marriage. This knowledge of this double star and its concept of revolution, its concept of unique revolution, has been mentioned in multiple texts.
Thank you for your appreciation. See, the point is, thank you. So the point is what? So we very clearly say in our marriage ritual itself and tell the newly married bride and groom that it is not A to go around B or B to go around A, but both of you to go around together in fulfilling your dharma.
And you both go around a common center, which is the family and the society itself.
That is a beauty. So that is a key lesson. So it is that's a very important ritual carried out for millennia, and it's there right from the Vedic days, because there's knowledge that this was a double star and both go around each other together. Look at that. So they knew astronomy. Among the firmament in the sky, they knew which star to show, which example, because there are a lot of double stars. And most of the double stars, there's one bigger star, one smaller star. So the smallest obviously goes toward the bigger star. They didn't take that example. They took this example to show you how beautifully. See, that's amazing. So you have to know astronomy. You have to have a practice where you have to bring in the complementary nature. And then you say you are Sahadharmini, because carrying out your dharma. So multiple facets are brought forth to explain how this is. We'll go to the next.
So this is actually the wisdom. So there is knowledge, but culling out the essence from that, the knowledge of astronomy, and bringing it out as a wise suggestion to this newly married couple. Now that, and making that into a traditional ritual which has been coming down, it happens even today. Newly marrieds are shown this particular star. Unfortunately, the import of this ritual has been lost. So the weddings happen during daytimes in many cases, and the newlyweds are shown the star in the east, not even in the north, but sometimes in the east and in the middle of the day, during sunlight. So this is actually the import of this practice. And
so look at this clearly. It's a double star. A doesn't go around B, or B doesn't go around A. How they show it is this way. So and they have used nature, Prakriti, to show you so beautifully. And they knew this concept 5,000 years ago itself. So, and they also realized that there's no one size fits all. Everybody has to work out based on their situation.
So this complementary nature belonged, so the role that a woman and a man had to play belonged to the region, their occupations, and also cultures, whether they were part of an urban society or a rural society. So it is not everybody had to do the same kind of balance in their interpersonal relationship. So this is something that was existent. And from here, we would like to show you another aspect of the society. So we're just showing you small snippets, and we shall be actually looking at many, many more, especially very interesting wedding rituals, as well as other rituals that are performed in a family, and how that reflects the wisdom in the society, both scientific as well as social aspect of wisdom, which was there in the society, in the framework of society. We'll be looking at that because there are so many of them, and we therefore thought it fit to make it as a course. Now, the other aspect is who held the wealth. One other aspect you will see about women in society.
See, Hema asked a very good question. Who held the wealth of the civilization?
Because we call the women Lakshmi.
And she is, so varieties of Lakshmi. See, we showed you the picture of Ashtalakshmi here. Very clearly, we show the picture of Ashtalakshmi here. So she's all the 8 varieties of wealth. First, water. The most important thing, whichever part of the world we live in, is the water that we need, both for domestic as well as agriculture, the food that we need to eat. Whatever role we play in society, the most important is that. But who owns the water? Who ensures the water harnessing? Not just get you a pot of water from the tap. No. At a larger, that's at a micro level, but at a macro level, the water harnessing is managed, owned, and done by the women of the society.
And guess where we get this clue from? Look at most of the rivers on the land. They're all named after women. All the rivers bear names of women.
Including even the water ponds, especially if you look at it in Karnataka, are called Kalyani. So it's a feminine name. So all the water bodies are feminine in nature because they provide the waters that needed for essential for our very living. Absolutely. Then again, in an agrarian society, what happens? The seed is most important, bija. So who provides the seed? When a farm is fully grown, do you know what? The grandmother goes into the field with the granddaughter, plucks the best of the produce and takes it to keep it home for the seed bank. It's only then the men are allowed into the field to harvest. So the best of the produce becomes the seed for next season. So seed bank is maintained by the women. The cattle, the Go Rakshana, is again a women's focused area. And land, again a very women focused area. These 4 aspects are controlled by the women, are in the kabza of women, are the ownership of women, are the control of women. The men's role is to labor on it.
So that's why we had women of substance. So she held the substance. I mean, that was just a side mention.
That's also the reality. That's what happened. So the key factors of a society were held by the women. So all these things make up the Samaj, the society, and why a woman is Sahadharmini. Because it's not a passing phase. It's not a passing phrase. It's a phrase that has real substance to it. And she is the fertility chain, not just of producing an ovum. The fertility of the whole land is in the mutti, the hand of the women. That's a reality of life anywhere. Whichever century you live, whichever aspect of life you have, that's a key facet. That's where civilizations flourish.
So, on one side, for a few minutes, we have seen about women, some of the myths. Many of us, when we talk about the Bharata civilization, the women, there are many myths around them, and we've just shown you some glimpse of the positive side. I mean, how the condition of women and the pedestal on which they stood was far different from the myths that we are led to believe. The other such aspect of society which has come under a lot of attack has been the organization of the society, which today is called as the caste system. So today, if people talk about Bharat, the Bharata society, immediately they get the picture. They have been trained to think only of Bharat being a society where there has been a very rigid caste system and which has given a lot of problems and which continues to give a lot of problems. So, and in this, it was a four-tier, it's described as a four-tier vertical system, very rigid, where the lowest category are said to be the highly tormented and the ones who do not have any wealth across the millennia. Let us see some of the actual truths.
See, first of all, it was not a vertical hierarchical society. The vertical hierarchical society was actually a very European, medieval European thought imposed on colonial India. The Indian system was horizontal, where there was not vertical. The verticality is European. The horizontality is Bharata idea, which we'll do in the course detailed over 2 hours. We'll just show you 2 examples. 2 observers who came to Bharat, because people normally say, there's a lot of misrepresentation, say that Brahmins on the top, Shudra on the bottom. No, that comes only when you have verticalness, not when you have horizontalness. I'll just show you a slide where to show you that verticalness and horizontalness in thought. Just show you. See, people talk about everything vertical. No, it is not vertical. You'll have to realize the caste system was introduced by the European system, which they had for somebody else. Whereas it is a horizontal system. Yes, it was with Narayana, but not from a vertical angle, but from a horizontal angle. Having said this, so it's only when you have here, you have Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. But when you have here, which is taller, which is lower, all are equally equal. That's what comes out beautifully here. Just show you. So, in fact, till about a little more than a century back, if you see, it was the Shudra who held the primary wealth of the land, which was disenfranchised during the colonial rule. We'll show you two. I'll just show you 2 quotes. I'll show you 2 quotes. One from the Malabar region, where a German evangelist, when he came here, he wrote a book called Malabarisches
Heidentum.
So this is a German work where he writes something called 70 verses in honor of the plow, where he calls the farmer, where he says, even if one be born Brahmin, the person is by no means considered to be of great excellence as when born a Valalar. That is a term that of course, he uses a local term, but very Germanized again. Neither the king's splendor, nor the merchants, nor the Brahmin is to be compared with the Valalar's excellence and respect. That is, the common folk who toiled the soil were wealthy and respected. This is in the official book of Bartholomew's Ziegenbach, who came here as an evangelist and traveled all over Malabar. That's why the book itself is named after Malabar. That's one. Of course, he said a lot more. We're going to deal all that because it's 70 verses. Today's webinar, we can't say all that. We'll just deal this. We'll just show you one more example. Since we have quite a few friends from Gujarat, we'll take a Gujarat example today. There was a person in Saurashtra called Brigadier Alexander Walker. His sobriquet is called the Butcher of Saurashtra. Between 1718, 1810, for 13 years, he fought with the Jadejas and all the kings of Saurashtra and defeated them. There he writes, the spirit of inquiry and liberty most by the Sudurs, who compose a great body of the population, who are in possession of the principal authority and property of the country. So the wealth holding and the spirit of inquiry to learn, to know, was greatest with the Sudurs. That's what, of course, that's how he terms them. So this is 200 years back. This is a reality of situation. Two ends of Bharat, one the southern end in Malabar, one the Saurashtra end. Of course, we can show you another example for Maharashtra too. There is similar. So different people have given different. This is Anand Kentish Kumar Swami. He's a Sri Lankan who was the curator of the Boston Museum. He and his American wife. So they speak about, they have written extensively about the Bharata civilization, where they write about the chief in the Indian village was not the priest, but the carpenter, the workman. He writes a book called The Indian Craftsman, where he writes very clearly, it is a craftsman, the people, the guild who did the menial work. Their remuneration was better, and they were the members who were in the managing the society, managing the village. That was what it was.
So, and these guilds were headed by the carpenter, who is called the Patel of the artisans, and they decided all the disputes. So, they are actually talking about how, like when they say principal authority was with them, property was with them. So there was nothing like it was a vertical where somebody is at the bottom and does not have any authority and prodded upon. So these are some of the myths that need to be shattered.
So the education, we'll have to shatter the myths. We'll have to shatter the myths in society, how people live, the different varieties. So it was not vertical, but horizontal is a key aspect.
And it was not rigid, but there was flexibility
of moving, because you could move horizontally. The verticality was in Europe. The verticality was in Mexico, in Latin America, not in Bharat. It was imposed an idea. So that is what it is. So all that we discuss as we go along. So let's go to the next slide, please.
So coming back to, therefore, these are some of the kind of things that we will look at in this course. And the course is actually sitting on April 13th. There are so many myths, actually. We could frame it as a course which focuses on the society as well as culture, which is actually the Indian word for it is kalachar. So look at it, both semantically and phonetically, they match culture and kalachar. But then again, like what Ankur said in the beginning, we are so diverse region to region, yet we still say there is Bharat Kalachar. It's a common Bharata culture. So what is that common Bharata culture? And how is it possible that so many diverse regions together can subscribe to one culture, a common culture?
And so it is a matrix, actually. It's a one. So matrix is not just a film. The real matrix in live living is what was there in Bharata civilization, which is what we have shown. Look at this. It is actually multi-dimensional existence was there. So you had one side Varna Jati, you had other side Dharma and Ashrama, Darshana, Mata. You had different angles you had.
So look at it again. We come back to the key idea and the word Samaj, balance. So if a society has to be balanced, it has every member in the society, and especially in every society, but in Bharata, we are able to clearly see the different weaves being one, your root, your actual birth, your origin, that is the jati, and your profession, the varna. So a balance between that. striking a balance between the philosophy that you hold, you subscribe to, but the religion that you follow, having a balance between the dharma, your nature, and therefore your behavior, your character, and the duty that you bear because of the ashrama. So these kind of individual balances, therefore, give the individual itself a sense of balance, and many such balanced individuals give rise to a balanced society.
Excellent. Excellent. So like this, there are different subjects that we'll be focusing in this 10 session course: caste system, Stree Shakti, the myths about prosperity, the breakdown of the prosperity, the social fabric, how it happened, why it happened, the understanding of the traditional frameworks, the law and order of Bharat, the Bharatiya Kalachar, and how what unity in diversity this Bharatiya Kalachar brought about, and how we can all bring it back with a sense of understanding. That is what we bring forth this course. So the key takeaways would be, we need to discover that this framework that governed us to make us a flourishing land for many millennia. We're not flourishing for decades. We're not flourishing for a century or two. We're flourishing for 20, 30 centuries. That's 2, 3 millennia and more. So that means we must have done something good, as Hema keeps saying. So, and then learn the gender balance. Because when the world moves beyond gender equality, where will they go? They will go to gender complementary. But that's already what we've been talking about. So we have to lead the world in gender complementariness. And the myths that are paid to the wrong narrative of Bharata civilization, we should know them to overcome the myths. In reality, that's the truth we'll have to know. And the understanding, when we say Bharat is diverse, but has a single culture, what is the diverseness in it? So we can relish the singleness of culture. So the idea of Samaj and Kalachar, both we bring through in this well. So that is an absolute important key takeaway that will be after the 10 sessions that we'll be doing in this course. Next, please. So this is actually, as you say, Hema explained, it's an 8-quarter program that we do. It's a circular program of 8 quarters for 2 years. And this particular program that we're coming here is this one, where we show you the fabric, how different threads bind together to make this. So we just completed this. Actually, tomorrow is the last class in this cosmology calendar. So next quarter, we take this up and then we go on. So it's a continuous cycle that we keep doing for Hindu University America. It's 8 quarters. So people are welcome to join it anywhere. So it's a part of a continuous cycle. Each is independent, but collectively, it's a full course. Next, please. It's a well-structured study program of Bharata civilization where it deals from identity one side to ethos other side. It deals with geography, history, industry, trade, society. That's what we're doing now. Timekeeping, which is just completing this course. Festivals, again, is part of the course you're completing. In future course, we do on education, languages. So it's a full, like how the peacock is the national bird, the civilization knowledge we bring for the whole structure of it beautifully in this, where you have the idea of twinning, the twinning of science and spirituality. Important, but also the twinning of gross and subtle, sukshma and stula. Then the twinning of self, that is we the individual, the I, with prakriti, nature, the inside and outside, twinning of the two. And bringing about all this balance is the sama, samaja, there where we have co-complementariness of being with the sahadharmini. Okay, and sahodara, sahodari, as you call a brother and sister, because both are born from the same Uddara. The beauty of it, look at that, how well we named it. So we do this, it's for Indian time, which since we are based in Chennai, India, we are saying the Indian time IST 8:30 p.m. In whichever part of US you are, it depends upon your local time that you would be joining. So this is an 8-quarter course that we do for 10
Sundays in every quarter. So in each quarter, you have 10 Sundays and 1.5 hours, but usually runs into about at least 100 to 120 minutes.
Because we like to take every question from every colleague who are there in this course and answer everything. So we look at the Bharata civilization audit as a continuum, as a full cycle, a chakra. That's what it is. And we look at each facet. So this current one is on society that we're doing. So each one we look at different aspects and where we go step by step. Each is a stepping stone of knowledge. How we learn the skills of the civilization, how we make it relevant for us for the present and the future. Because only when we know these things can we have the confidence. And only when we have the confidence, we can dare. Without, otherwise, we'll only be clouded by the myths. It's important because when the world went looking for Bharat, they went to got us at the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is what they looked at Bharat as. They went to East Indies, West Indies, India, Indonesia, India, everywhere. So as Hema said, we must have done something good. So we need this confidence and the dare for us to be a prosperous civilization, a Vikasit Bharat, a Vishwa Guru, and Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam.
And Vishwaguru, because what are these lessons which we can tell other civilizations so that they can also have that sustained flourish, prosperity overall. So that's one thing. I mean, one is yes for Bharat, but the other is the lessons from this for everybody to take depending on where they are. So the relevance for their own civilization also comes out very clearly.
So those who want more details, you can always go to our website, bharatgyan.com, and look it up, please. Once again, I would like to thank for patiently listening to us for the last 45 minutes plus. I'd like to thank our host, Ankurji, for giving us this, for calling us and giving us this opportunity. And so the floor is yours, sir.
Wonderful. Always a pleasure. And what started off as one course or two courses has turned into a whole certificate program because there's so much to share and we love how you do it. So let me just drop details of the course in the chat, Exploring Hinduism, Society and Culture. This is the upcoming one. It's going to be on Sundays at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be 10 p.m. Indian Standard Time, a little bit early on the West Coast. It's going to start April 13th. So you can click there and see the details. It's going to be between $300 and $600. Initially, this course started off as exploring Hinduism for teenagers and parents. We want this to be an opportunity where families can learn together, engage, and have something more significant to talk about during dinner, over the dinner table. And so there's a little $100 per person additionally. So if you have, and we've made exceptions, you know, grandparents and grandkids take the course together, cousins and uncles, whoever can take the course together and engage, we are happy to oblige. So I'm looking for questions. We have a few in the Q&A box. Kumaji, you have I guess you had a question about a particular slide. Maybe if you raise your hand, the link does not click. Are you sure? It clicks for me. Pankaji, maybe I'll try again. Yes. Who has put a question in the Q&A box? We'll come to Kumaji in a minute. Shonaji is asking, should we say our jati is Indian origin or Bharati? So kind of that whole question of Indian origin or Bharati or Dharmic, right? The context of how do we discuss this in modern times? Maybe if you want to talk about Indian origin, Bharata, or other dynamics.
First of all, thank you so much for this. First of all, thank you so much for this question. When you use the word Bharata, it is not just limitedly to the political country of India. The idea of Bharata is geographical too and more conceptual because the word Bharata itself means not name of a king, but the word Bha means light, Bhaskara, Bhanumati, Bhanuara for Sunday. So Ba there stands for light and Ratha is one who relishes knowledge. Rati, Ratha, so the feminine form is Rati. So one who relishes is Rati. So Bharata is one who relishes knowledge. So
the light there actually is the enlightenment, the knowledge that gives you enlightenment. So Bharata means a civilization where people seek knowledge, they relish knowledge.
They question it. By seeking, you question, and the answers coming out of mutually, which is acceptable to our each inner self, is the knowledge we get. So you don't have to take because somebody else says it. That is not the sacrosanct knowledge.
So when you say you're a Bharati, actually, if you see many gurus, they have the name ending Bharati, Bharati, they will have. It's because of this. Now, so when you say you're a Bharati, you're coming from a civilization and your nature is to seek and relish knowledge. So that describes your nature. But when you say a Jati, Jati is it shows the lineage. It is connected with the birth, Janam. So the jati points to the individual from whom you have come. So it is not so Indian origin and Bharati, that is different. That is only to describe your nature. But jati is something very different and it's not connected with the political land.
And jati is not caste also. Neither is varna, because varna is 4. Jati is thousands and thousands of thousands, because you have that many varieties of guilds and families and trades and what you would like to do. So varna is by choice. Varduna is to choose. So in choice, you can keep on moving between A, B, C, D of your choice of that decade, of that year. You can choose. Horizontal movement is multiple times in one's lifetime is allowed. But what you're born with certain family traits is different. So that's where Jati Varna system comes. It is not the stratified caste system that we have been imposed with during the colonial rule.
I hope that has clarified.
We'll be dealing with details as we go along the course with a lot of examples and detailings.
Thank you.
That's all.
Great.
That's what we'll be bringing forth.
All right.
Thank you for
So
the question.
wherever you go, you carry your jati with you. You may not carry the citizenship politically, but you will carry the civilizational trait and you will also carry the jati of the family lineage that you've been coming through.
Wonderful. Yeah, we're going to have a couple more questions. We're going to dig into this a little bit more. I'm sharing the webinar attendance. Quite a few first-timers, regulars, and folks who've attended before. Nice range of folks and people who have taken the course. We have 10 people who are enrolled in a program. Glad to have you here. And the 21 of you considering taking a course, amazing. Thank you for being here. I hope you will consider taking this course.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Yeah. Let me launch this quick poll. If you're interested in this course in particular, I added a wrong question to the bottom of it. Let me actually, sorry. I'll relaunch that poll shortly. And so Kumuji, I think you have the ability to unmute if you want to unmute and ask your question.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sure. Yes, please.
Okay. So first is a question and then second is a point. The question is, all these things that you said, they help us to understand our past and our heritage, but how does that fit into everyday living, particularly in the US? And then the point that I wanted to make is that, you showed a slide about behind every successful man is a woman. And I don't think it is, I don't think it is so literal, like behind and front and same and all that. Basically, in fact, they are giving more power to the women because they're saying that, the man, if you see some successful person, then usually you will see that there is a woman who has brought him up to that point. She has helped him or taught him or supported him or whatever she has done. And because of that, he is where he is today. So this is the point that they're trying to make. I don't think it is so much literal that behind and front and same. This is, what I feel. So
no, actually, I just want to clarify. We have actually written about it too. When did this phrase actually come to be? And if we trace it back, yes, no doubt, this is like the engine behind and pushing the train up the mountain. Definitely, that shows the strength of the woman. But it also reflects on the times when many of the women and their ability to do all this was also kept kind of hidden. And so that control, so that is also one aspect, but that is besides the point. The point here was to show and highlight, to stress the aspect of complementary nature. So to show the side by side. So the word behind is used to draw attention to the aspect that Ardhanari, the side by side, the complementary and the filling in is needed. And you were asking about how is it relevant in today's day in US. So the point here would be that the relevance will come when you start keeping on telling yourself, and wherever you are, it doesn't matter now in which part of the world you are, but when everybody is talking about gender equality, if we can again and again keep bringing back the idea that there is something called complementary, and the more we start uttering the word gender complementary, the relevance will automatically seep in. And this uttered and read everywhere, publicly splattered all over, rather than gender equality, will automatically influence the day-to-day interactions and lifestyle in every home, in every work atmosphere, everywhere. And it will just seep in then.
50 years back, in 1970s, hordes of people had to bring in the gender equality concept, even to 50 years later for it to say it is passe, it is there. But what's the next step? It has to, next step, it has to go to complementary. In Bharata civilization, it's always been complementary. See, a few centuries, as Hema said, we written in the book, a century back, a woman could not write a book. It could be authored only in the name of her father or husband or brother. They could voting again. Look at the rest. 1,000 years back, a Leelavati on mathematics could be written by Acharya Brahmagupta's daughter. I'm sorry, Bhaskaracharya's daughter could write a book called Leelavati 1,000 years back. So got many Rishikas, many Brahmavanis who have been authored original works of their own in the Bharata civilization, which unfortunately we see it only in the male gender for millennia in other parts of the world. So it's an ongoing process. So it's actually, see, it's a cycle. It's there in our chart. We'll be showing the course. So there are 3 levels. One is oppression, equality, complementary nature. Then it's a chakra. Time keeps on rolling. It's a kala chakra. So because we should not be saying things when after the West knowledge says it. We should be saying something ahead. If we are a civilization of value, of millennia, then the next step after equality that the world has been talking about the last 50 years is complementary. So that's why we already have it as Sahadarmini, Sahodara, Sahodari. Look at that. And the Samaj is same equal. In that you have complementary. So one rides on the other. So the society and the family rides on each other beautifully. There again is intertwining. It's intertwining of the two. Thank you for...
Hariji, Pankaj.
Yes,
yeah. To me, the lady, what she asked the question is interesting. And living in US and seeing the younger generation and meeting a lot of people, I see that this negative women's status in West over thousands of years now has backfired in such a way that not only there is a rut for competition almost of equality or moving even ahead, that we are ahead, that it affects the interpersonal relations. People are not, younger generation is not able to get into relationship because of the tussle rather than being together, who is ahead of whom and who is trying to equal among others in a variety of ways. And it's just like your little finger and the thumb cannot be equal, but they are both needed. So that understanding, which is being brought out through what you are suggesting, is so much relevant and needed in the West that I think it's really a need of the day rather than out of place.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Doctor, for bringing this wonderful point, and really appreciate Srimati Kumu Ji's points that she brought forth. Thank you so much, Ji. Thank you so much, Doctor.
And Pankajji, thank you for being a supporter of HUA. And in this class in particular, I know you've provided scholarships and encouraged people to take the Hari's courses because you appreciate them and how they engage and answer questions, which I do too. So if you have any other questions,
Yeah,
now is the time to put them in the Q&A box. We will
those,
surely get to them.
those,
Pankajji?
those who are listening, I'll just tell one word, that to start the journey in knowing India and Hinduism and India in general, and to share that information to the younger generation, our children in the West, there is no other better way I have found. I've been looking for last 20, 30 years, no other better way that I have found other than Hari's couples classes of and their books. They have done a tremendous work. I cannot thank them enough. And I think all of us must take that and support them in more than one way so that we can continue what they have started through the generations to come, and that could help many more people. So I'll strongly urge all to take the classes.
Perfect. Thank you, Pankajji. Dr. Parikh, glad that you were here today.
Dr. Pan, thank you so much for your very kind words. Many a times you have said it. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. I think, Ankur, there's one Mr. H.G. Parsa has got his hand up a couple of times.
This is Parsa. I'm a faculty member. I saw your YouTube. I thought I know a lot. After your session, I learned. God, I know so little. This is really enlightening. I think I should get college credit just for attending for 40 minutes. It's very enlightening, very enlightening. And honestly,
Thank you so much.
I'm in dharmic all my life. I thought I read a lot. After you were, especially vertical versus horizontal, that's amazing. Where Lakshmi sits,
Yes.
Lakshmi sits with Shudras. That's where Lakshmi is.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
eye opener. Eye opener. I'm in your class. Only thing is,
Oh,
your
welcome,
class
sir.
starts in the morning, and if I can't, I'll pay somebody to attend it because it's that important.
Oh,
Not for me, for
so
them. I want to take
okay.
your I want to take your class. I saw your YouTubes. It's incredibly enlightening and a joyful
Thank you.
read. Samaj, one more word, if I may add. Samaj
Please
means
do.
another meaning to it. Ja means born, Sama means equal. That means
Yes.
Samaj means we are all born equal. That's why we call it Samaj. Ja means
Very well.
born.
True, sir.
Yeah. Ja means born, Sama
Ja
means
Jana.
equal. By birth, Samaj means we are all equal. By the way, I teach Dharma classes here. In my class, we teaching kids, 200 kids. We stop asking them, stop using the word Hinduism. We are not ism,
Yes.
like communism, capital, social. We are not ism. There is a Christianism, Islamism. Why Hinduism? Stop using the word Hinduism. Use the Hindu Dharam, Hindu philosophy. I like your word, Bharatiya. Much more neutral.
Yes.
And
Sir,
thank you, Parsaji,
sir,
for the Dharma B that you talked about. Glad that you're doing that. Where do you teach, by the way?
Colorado, University of Colorado.
Nice.
Yeah.
Colorado.
sir,
Colorado.
Shri Parsaji, we have a flip book for free read in our website. It's called Hindu Dharma. It's a 50-page book. You can please browse through it. It's for free read in a Bharat Gyan website in the flip book section. You can please see it. We wrote it for the Australian universities.
Yeah,
it's available there. Sir.
Yeah, our Dharma book is in English. 200 kids are taking it, 8 weeks course. And
Wonderful.
yeah, both brilliant.
Parsaji, we'll follow up later. Hopefully, maybe we can partner with Hindu University of America in Colorado with you. Thank you, Parsaji.
Yeah.
So we can talk offline also, Parsaji, if you could, if Ankurji could share each other's details, we could talk to him offline too.
Yeah. Absolutely. I have so much to learn. So much to learn. I love to talk to you.
Same here.
Great. And glad that you're going to be taking the course.
Yes.
Okay, Pranam. Oh, by the way, I'm a Hindu University class already, on Ayurveda class.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Parsaji. All right. We have a few more questions. Shubhadaji, if you miss a class, you can catch up because all the classes will be recorded. They'll be accessible through our learning management system, the readings, the links, the graphics, all of that will be made available online, very easy to access. Maybe you haven't taken an HUA course before. This would be a great one to start with, and you'll get your own HUA email address at your name at hua.edu. and it'll make it easy for you to catch up on missed classes. Of course, we do want you attending live, but if you do miss a class, you can do that. Folks, the poll is still open. Please do let us know if you're interested in the course or not, and we'll do a quick follow-up. Ramji, how about you next?
Yes.
Thank you. So again, Hariji, so nice to see you
Namaste.
after all this time. I'm looking forward to joining this class. I don't know whether I've
welcome, sir.
before, but this is something which we should definitely do.
Sure, you're certainly welcome. It'd be a pleasure interacting with you one more time and many
Once
more
again.
times. Once again, many more times. So welcome.
Absolutely.
And there's a question by another person by name Mansi Shroff. There's a question. She wanted to know where all this available. We said it's in which book. She asked the question. She said it's available in the book Breaking the Myths About Society in a Bharat Gyan website. And I'm sure Mr. Ram Krishnamurti has already read that book because he is quoted on that book a couple of times. So thank you so much. That book is Breaking the Myths About Society.
So Hariji, I also wanted to share with you that actually continuing with that book on dance, we are actually launching a mobile app for that on March 30th. I'm going to borrow very heavily from your work on Mahashivratri because I'm doing one, and I'll send you the video and Dr. Pankaj, that we are connecting from Mahakumbh to the importance of Mahashivratri to Shiva to Nataraja to Chidambaram to Bharatanatyam. Eventually, for me, everything has to end there.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Ramji. All right. I think we are nearing the end of our webinar. I don't see any other outstanding questions. Now is the time to get your last questions in. If you raise your hand, we have maybe time for one more comment or question. Any previous students, happy to have you come on and give your testimonial. Okay. Well, a little bit of an echo.
At Gmail.
Okay. So it's my pleasure to be hosting these webinars for the last 5-6 years, and the Haris have been with us since we got this Hindu University of America online, connecting us and sharing so much knowledge. And you heard it from some folks who spoke today. They're taking other courses. They're enrolled in previous courses. We're having in-person retreats. Hindu University of America is our university. Glad to have you join us for this webinar. Please do consider enrolling in a course. Much more to come, and glad to engage in whatever way that you see fit. Questions, either by email, online, by phone. We are glad to have you with us today and hopefully in the future. So with that, let me hand it to the Haris to give us our closing thoughts and statements and invitation to join their course in the upcoming quarter. Thank you. Namaste. Dhanyawad, everyone.
Thank you so much for sparing the time to come in today, all of you. And look forward to seeing you all in the course starting April 13th. Welcome.
Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Namaste.